Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mastree Conversations. I'm your host for the evening, Filoni Kanani. With me today is Nancy, and let me take this opportunity to introduce Nancy. Well, they say that behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believed first. And I so agree with this quote because I've seen Ishita story exactly unfold in a similar manner. She was a published author at the age of 8. She was a TED speaker at the age of 10. And all this would not have been possible if her parents did not dream, if her parents did not support her dreams. So, with me today is Nancy Katyal, mother of India's youngest TED speaker, Ishita Katyal. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much for having me.
And also, there is this one important piece of information that I would want to share with all of you before we proceed and deep dive into this conversation. It's that Nancy is an executive presence coach with over 17 years of experience in training corporates, celebrities, Fortune 500 companies, thought leaders from all walks of life. And very recently, she was also featured in Forbes magazine. So yeah, with us is Nancy Katyal. So send a thumbs up or send a hi in your chat boxes right away for Nancy to see that all of you are here and, share some energy with us. So yeah, hi Nancy, how are you doing today
I'm
evening?
good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm great. We see hi coming in from Veer Goyal, Swati, Nehal. Everyone's waving and giving you a thumbs up, saying hi.
Hello, everyone.
So, okay, Nancy, I have a lot of questions to ask. But the very first question that I would, want to open this session with would be that what do you think hinders the child from following their dreams, and why don't parents support their children in following their dreams?
Sure. Thanks for asking that. I'll answer the second part first, right? Because the kids come through us, right?
Right,
So I think as parents, we rather listen to the society than listening to our kids,
right,
right? So there is a conditioning that we all go through our parents, and then
right,
when we become a parent, we think that the society's rules and regulations have to be followed for a child to be accepted.
right.
However, the first acceptance has to come from you,
Absolutely.
and that's where the dreams, like you said, that why there is an hindrance, because the parents are confused whether they need to follow the rules set by society, or can they allow that freedom to the child to own their life.
That is
And
so true. And I'm so sure that a lot of parents here struggle between that dilemma. So, do we listen to our family or do we listen to the society, or do we just, let these kids follow whatever it is that, they want to do? So, how many of us face this problem? Like, we're always in a dilemma. Logo ki sune ya apne bachcho ki sune? How many of us? Give me a quick thumbs up if you're one of those. So, yeah, Nancy, you were saying.
sure, and parenting is a journey, right? We do, so you go through MBA degree or whatever education that you go through, right? So there is a curriculum for that. Parenting is the only thing which doesn't come with the curriculum,
Oh,
right? From day one, people think that, oh, parenting is natural. I was ready for it. You're never ready for it, right? So I think, and for me also, it's been a learning experience, and that helps me to recollect one of the incident where I thought that I was the parent, right? I've studied it all, I've got it all together. And
wow.
after Ishita came from TED, and she was giving another talk, and after that talk, there was a Q&A session. And one of the lady asked her that, Ishita, don't you think you're spoiling your childhood because you are skipping school? Today's Monday and you are here. So don't you think you are spoiling your childhood? And at that moment, the protective parent in me stood up, and I thought I was doing the right thing. Okay. And I stood up and I said, excuse me. And with inside I was raging with anger. How can you ask this question
Right,
to my
because
kid, right?
like how can you walk up to a kid and ask that, are you not wasting your childhood? That's
Yeah,
a really difficult question to ask.
yeah. And I thought Ishita would be so proud of me. I stood up and I said, is it okay if I may ask on if I may answer on Ishita's behalf? And that lady said, sure. So I said that, ma'am, your kid goes for annual day competition. Do they stand on the stage and do they perform? She said, yes. I said, do you feel proud of that? Of course I do. I said, do they participate in other co-curricular activities in the school? Of course they do. I said, why do you think it's important? She said it's important because it builds their confidence and studies are not the only thing. I said, thank you, bang on. The only difference is that Ishita is being given a bigger platform. And I thought I've done a great job as a parent. And the moderator who was moderating the Q&A asked Ishita that, do you have something to add? And Ishita looked at me and she said, thank you, mom. And then she said, first of all, ma'am, I would like to thank you that you've come to listen to me. That shows that you value my opinion. And at that moment, do you see what I did? I thought, let me protect my child from the world outside.
Right.
But my child has her own thoughts. And that reminds me of Khalil Gibran's poem, which says that you may love your child, but don't give them your thoughts because they have their own thoughts. And
Wow.
that was an awakening moment for me that can I allow Ishita to be? And and I think if we can do that, and if I ask you also that what is your regret in life, you would say, I wish I could have started certain things at an early age. I wish I would not have followed society's stereotypical checklist. Now, what if parents don't come as an obstacle, rather come as a support mechanism to tell the kids that whatever they are, it's celebrated, whoever they are, irrespective of their grade. So you will not say good job to your kid when they get a good grade, or when they clean their room, you'll say good job. Or thank you for cleaning the room. Can I just say thank you for coming in my life? We don't say that. We don't
Right.
say that. So
Right.
parenting is not about power, it's about empower. So that's what I
Wow.
would say.
I love that. Parenting is not about power, it's about empowering. That's such a strong thought. So again, what do you think that the parents should do to, empower their child to pursue their dreams? Because
First
we
thing is,
see that despite of, um, a lot of facilities available, kids are still not pursuing what it is that they want. So,
yeah, and there are so many books written on parenting where they would give you tips about, wow, it's good to have a timeout. And so conscious co-traveler, right? So what happens is the moment I think that my parenting is a role, now it's like when you go for a job, you are given a job role and responsibility, like JRA. Similarly, when you become a parent, you think you have a PRR, that is parents roles and responsibilities.
wow.
Yeah. Now nobody has told you this, okay? It has come from your own imaginary fantasy that I
Right,
have to
right.
perform my PRR. Now, if you ask a kid, they're not even aware that you have this PRR that they have to follow and they have to get your approval. So I think being a conscious co-traveler, being aware and being in the moment rather than being a controlling co-traveler. We think that our self-worth is dependent on if a kid agrees to us. Oh, they agree to us. That means it's like, when you are a leader and you get your job done from your subordinate, you think, yeah, I'm doing a good job. When they say I don't want to do it, you think, why they're not listening to me? But if you look at why people leave their job, is because of people, because of their managers. And that's what we need to understand, that our job is to be a co-traveler, as a conscious co-traveler, and have a human to human interaction irrespective of the title. And I think parenting will become easier the moment you will take the parent out of the whole dynamics, because the word parent in itself has a lot of emotional charge
Absolutely.
attached to it.
Absolutely. And I think it's a very strong, burden to carry. Like, it's so heavy to, communicate as a parent versus if you're just communicating one to one without titles, where uh, the conversation is open. But I'm still stuck on the fact that it was so clever of a 10-year-old to tell the lady in the audience that, Madam, thank you for taking out the time to come and see me. To this lady who's asking her that, are you not wasting your childhood, so so let's go to, what does Ishita do that people want to see her?
So that reminded me of the time when she was 1 year old. And so, when I say conscious co-traveler, that doesn't mean that you let your child just be, okay, you want to spill milk all over, please, you're all allowed. Okay, you want to throw tantrums. Yeah, so I'm just saying conscious co-traveler as a parent, as a role, means that you would have certain set of boundaries which are negotiated with the child. Now, if you see, we think with 1 year old, how can you negotiate? If you
Nancy, we lost you. Sorry. Can you repeat that line? We
Okay,
lost
which was the last line you heard?
you. It was, I think, the conscious co-traveler.
Sure. So when we are with the kid, we think that as a 1 year old, how can we negotiate with them? It starts as early as a 6 year old. If you've noticed a kid, they will look in the mirror and they'll smile. So their self worth is developing then, and we will stop and tell them, don't look at the mirror. And that's where they don't come with a manual to build their confidence. We are the ones keep on feeding information to them, right? So for Ishita, uh, some things that I was conscious was that I will not talk to her in gibberish language. Yeah, so for example, you want to have mum or you want to have bishi, so we said biscuit or we said water, right? So we were conscious and we spoke in English. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't value my mother tongue, which is Hindi and Punjabi, right? But the conscious decision was we were aware when she goes to the school, English would be a primary language in which she would be studying. So why not initiate that? So I'm saying as a parent, can we be conscious of certain decisions that will not harm the child? So one question as a conscious parent I can ask myself is, whatever decisions I'm taking, will it hamper my relationship with the child or it will build connection with my child? And I think English, Ishita thinks in English and she speaks in English. I think in Hindi and then I speak in English, right?
Wow.
Because I've been speaking Hindi for a longer duration of time in my life. So
Right.
that was a conscious thought. And for parents who are watching and they think that, I am not very fluent in English, so maybe they can have online platforms like Mastree has a lot of courses, they can go through those. So it's very important to support your child and see, because then a kid is small. If you tell them bale bale, they will learn bale bale. They don't know. If I say wow wow, so they learn wow wow, right? So
Right.
language is a conscious decision, and you have to ask, is it harming them? No, it's not harming them. It's empowering them. So these are the conscious choices that we made. And then her teacher noticed that Ishita is very good in voicing her own opinion. So during PTA meeting, she told me that please encourage her to write. And are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I am. I am. So I was actually wondering that we say that we push our children to pursue their dreams, and we should encourage them and empower them and everything. But the core question remains that how do you identify what their dreams are? Because sometimes some parents struggle with one, identifying what their kids are good at and what their dreams and aspirations are. Second, they are always worried that it should never come across as you are imposing or superimposing your ambitions and dreams on them. Like, for example, if I'm a doctor, I would want my kid to be a doctor. It is a natural choice, right? Because that's my comfort area and I know I can guide my child into this. So if my child has other aspirations, how do I go about that? But the key is that how do I identify what it is that my child wants to pursue? So how do we go about that?
One is that acknowledging that your child has their own thoughts, right? So I'll tell you an incident to just back that. So one of a very close relative, because Ishita is very good in her studies also. So they said that, Ishita, you know what? Now in ninth grade, you should opt for science and maths because you're very good at it. And then you can become IS officer,
Wow.
right? Now, Ishita, now if I would have been a controlling co-traveler as a parent, I would have said, yes, you nailed it, relative. Yes, she will follow that. Now, Ishita, after the conversation was over, I said, what do you think? She said, no, I'm going to drop science and maths. I think I want to become an entrepreneur and I want to opt for business studies and economics. To my relatives' disappointment. Um, so, when you say, how do you identify? Kids know it. Like, for example, if you recall your own childhood, I knew it, but I was told that this is not your opinion, this is not true. My experience says, तुमको नहीं पता है, मैंने जिंदगी देखी है, ऐसे बाल सफेद नहीं किए हैं. And the
So
kid is
true.
saying, वो ठीक है, but ज़माना बदल गया है, right? So I
Right.
think, and then your role as a parent is to navigate them, right? Not to
Right.
force them. So what I told Ishita was that I will not communicate this decision to the relative. Why don't you communicate? And Ishita was little hesitant and a little reluctant. But that's how you prepare your child to the world. Because over lot of love can spoil your kid. I know it may sound like, huh? We have seen kids who are pampered and the damage they are doing to the societal system, right? So you tell your kid the realities of life, that life is not bed of roses. When you go out, there will be this. So you observe them,
Right.
see where their interest lies, right? A lot of expose them to different venues. And now Ishita wanted to learn guitar, and after a while she said that I don't like it. That doesn't mean you will say, but I have invested money, why can't you continue it? We have also left certain things in life when we started. So why different rules for a child? For us, it's like I learned baking, and when I came home, I said it's too much of a hassle, man. I'll rather order it. Now that's unfair, right? We have different rules for kids and different rules for ourselves. So another thing is that you need to have a dialogue with your kid, and that will give you information. Ask them, like Ishita says, don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up. Ask them what do they want to be now in that moment. And it can change also, and observe patterns, that where they have you observed a pattern, and then maybe you can pursue and expose them to different things, and then
Right.
they will tell you that this is what they want.
So, Nancy, was there a pattern that you observed in case of Ishita? Like, how did you identify that she can be a writer?
Yeah. So Ishita was gifted on her birthday a diary with a lock. And she used to go in her corner and write. And I said, yeah, she must be scribbling, she must be doodling. And one fine day, those happy moments, right? She comes and she says, Mama, you want to read what I have written? I said, yeah, yeah. Because I couldn't open the lock, right? So it was locked. And I read, and as a parent, everything your kid does, you'll be like, wow. I said, wow, Ishita, I think it's worth publishing. She was 7 that time. I said, and then I took it to my husband, because I thought that, is it only me? Because as a parent, I'm overjoyed by, oh my God, whatever my kid
True.
has written. And my husband said, no, it's really worth publishing. Let's ask Ishita. And it was not written to be published. It was a natural, organic journey. And that's what parents need to understand, that you don't force. I never imagined, yes, by the time Ishita is 8, she should have written a book. No, it was organic. And I think that's the beauty. And then out to publishers, because we thought, okay, Ishita, that's where our role comes in. Now you have done your job as a writer. Let's support you. But then we were disappointed. People said we write kids for children, not by children, and stuff like that. And then Patridge Publisher contacted us, and that's how she. So the pattern that I noticed was that she will frame her own answers, even when she was in kindergarten, and the teacher ask. So I think as a parent, when you go for a PT, rather than only asking what are good things about your kid, me and Vikas, my husband, we always insisted on saying what are the areas of improvement in Ishita. And that's where she said that, oh, she's very good in this, and here is where she can explore, of course, positives as well as the areas of improvement.
Wow. So, okay, again, when we talk of pursuing anything that we want in life, there's this formula of success which is laid out by Harvard Business School. It says that if you want to, be successful in anything that you do, there are 3 steps. One is challenge the status quo. 2, come up with a solution. And the third and the most surprising one is that you need luck. You know, there is always a little bit of luck or destiny, whatever you call it, right? So any venture that we dive into, there is a possibility that it may flip around, it may not go as we desire it to be. So again, before you go and encourage your child to pursue these dreams, you also have to be aware of this possibility of failure, right? So how did you prepare Ishita for that?
So, as a parent, as a co-traveler, like I say, conscious co-traveler, we need to be aware that we need to normalize failure, because the reality of life is we all have failed, and the most amazing learnings have come from our failure. Nobody learns from success. I mean, at least I have not learned from anything being
True.
featured XYZ. It may give you a false kick, right? So so the most important thing is to understand, to have conversation about your own failure with your kid. Many parents will not share that they have failed in life,
Right.
right? Even the movie Chichore, the father at a point says that, okay, let me share, because this kid has this fantasy that I've always achieved XY thing in life, but let me share. And that's where the kid starts to improve. And with Ishita, we normalize. Now, Ishita can give us feedback. If she doesn't like the way I am talking about certain things, she can say that, Mom, I see it differently. Then I would not act from our parent role that, how can you say this? Oh my God, now my self-worth is low because she denied what I said. No, it's
Right.
not like that. She's an individual. Like, you have a right to your opinion, she has a right to her own. So normalize conversation around failure, share stories about other people who have failed in life. And so, they are not feeling like, oh my God, setback is the end of the life. Even during the Q&A, now after that incident that I just shared, I don't interrupt. I let Ashita be. She may not have the answer in that moment, but that will prepare her. Because when you go for the interview, the mother will not come along and say, shh, say this, right? She will not be there.
True.
And then expose them to different worldviews. For example, if I believe in a particular religion or a particular political party, I may say that I like how they operate. But then, Ashita, you have a choice to have other worldviews also. So there
Right.
are reflective questions that parents need to ask. Do I allow my kid to have their own opinion? Am I triggered the moment they say, Mom, I disagree with you? It's like, oh my God, how can you disagree with me? You have to respect. Respect is not about agreeing with somebody. Respect is also that you have an opinion and I respect that. I also have an opinion. You also need to respect that. So I
Right.
think for failure, you need to also prepare your kid that fear is not bad.
Okay.
It's false evidence appearing real. So it's not bad. And then the kid normalizes it. And when they, because with Ishita, while it may feel rosy to the world outside that she got it easy, her parents supported her, but when she went to school, she had to face negativity from her peer group because she was getting attention, a lot of peer pressure in terms of passing sarcastic comments. So, we need to understand that while a child who's pursuing her dream, she was loving it, but some were not. So,
Yeah.
as a parent, you need to become their safe space. Can they come and share with you? And there were days she would come and cry and she would say, I don't want to go to school. So,
Right.
as a parent, am I prepared to tell her, Ishita, it's okay, you shouldn't go tomorrow?
Right.
So
Right.
we have done that, and so you take the journey along with your child. I have cried along with Ishita, where she came and she said, Mom, things that I wouldn't imagine a 10-year-old listening that. So yes, everything comes with a consequence.
Absolutely. So the whole idea is that you open them up to the possibility of failure and normalize it and tell them that this is a possibility, but you have to be prepared for it, learn
Yeah,
from it, and restart.
yeah. And another
Amazing.
thing, Filoni, that if I may add, is that the moment a kid is crying, immediately what is the instinct? Don't cry. Now,
Yeah.
as an adult, just experience this. If I'm crying, how if somebody tells me, Nancy, don't cry, what would I say as an adult? I would say, let me be. Now, we really need to understand that a kid is an individual. Why there are different rules? Now, as a parent, somebody would say that if I'm just allowing them to be, then they'll go haywire. No, so you discuss with them, right? And you ask them what is their opinion, and are you okay if they tell you, Mom, I don't want lunch at 1:30. Please give it to me at 1. Like how you say 7:30 is your bedtime, 8 o'clock is your bedtime. So then if you are forcing certain things, and then if
True.
you are not open, then we really need to heal our own inner child that is wounded. And not many parents are ready to face that. And for me, the birth of Ishita has been a joyful, bumpy ride. There have been instances where Ishita has said certain things which were so profound, and it made me think that, oh my God, I really need to fix myself. So, yes.
Wow. Amazing. So, okay, without any further ado, let's address the elephant in the room. So, what it is that a parent can do to support their child on this journey of their dreams?
So the most important thing is, like I said earlier, that tell them that whatever they want to do in life is valid and worthy at that moment, right? So they would be so their outcome. For example, your love for them will not decrease if they get a B plus.
True.
And if they imagine, if they are in that environment, they will blossom like anything, because they would say that, okay, if I have failed at this, then my parents would be okay if I tried the other thing. And if you look at our own journeys, we have become who we are at the expense of the experiences we have gained in life. And
Right.
why not allow those experiences at an early age to our kid? Because we think that, oh my God, if they don't get this, they will not get a job, they will not be able to earn money. We have survived, they will also survive.
Right.
Yeah, so that is that. And I think another thing that one can do is that create a sub support system. Now, as a parent, you may feel that the kid should come and tell you everything. Now, Ishita is comfortable sharing certain things with me and certain things with Vikas, my husband, and
Right.
also certain things with her grandparents and my
Okay.
brother. So now
Okay.
you can tell your kid that it's okay. Now you should not take it as a defense mechanism. How, why didn't you share? Is there anything lacking in me? No. Like how you have a 2 a.m. friend or 10 a.m. friend, we have different friends with whom we share different
Right.
things.
Right.
Similarly, as a parent, what you can do to nurture their dreams is providing a safe environment where they feel that they have a support mechanism. And if they want to fly, you will give them wings. And no matter what happens, they will give it another try. And that's where, if you look at all the great, if I may use the word, achievers, they started at an early age. They could discover whether it's Facebook CEO or Bill Gates. Their parents gave them confidence that whatever you do, we are there with you, and that's comforting in itself.
Wow. Okay. And what role do you think does counseling play into this? And the whole, you mentioned somewhere that, we need to create a safe space for the kids, right? So, how does that work out?
Now, I'm a coach, but I'm not a clinically certified counselor, right?
Right.
Now, when Ishita was going through this negative criticism, I told her that if she wants, she can take a counselor's help, which is available in her school, or if she wants, we can go for a professional help. Because, we need to normalize the thing that if a kid is struggling with certain things, especially emotions,
Right.
it can be a tricky thing. And if as a parent I'm not able to control my emotions, how would I handle an innocent child? So I think more
True.
than, and I can tell you, because in coaching, most of the uh, people who come to me and they're complaining about their kids, I feel that they need therapy more than the kid needing the therapy, because it's always like they need to do this, they have not done this. But we don't think that it's the accumulation of small efforts from the parent side. If I'm giving labels to our kid, and it's, we say it just like that, you stupid or what, dumb, yeah,
Wow.
just like
Yeah.
that. and
Yeah.
and that impacts the self-esteem. And
Right.
and then we think that why they are not very talkative, you don't know, you keep quiet. And small things impact their mental health, and then parents are wondering why my kid is anxious. Look at
Right.
Mr. Sharma's kid, look at this kid. So I think comparison, that's why we need to request and not demand. Request is an invitation, right? And when you invite somebody, there is a choice, yes or no. It may be accepted, it may
Right.
not be. But when it's a demand, it's a mandate. So as a parent, have a request that I think that if you need support, you can talk to your peer group, you can talk to your sub support system, and also there's the professional help available. And I think
Right.
that in itself creates a normalcy in the house, that okay, if I need something, my parents are there, they don't judge me.
Right. Wow. And one more important thing when you are working towards any goal is that you need to have discipline and you need to have accountability. So, how do you inculcate these values? Like, or if not these, what were the values that you thought early on that these are the set of values that Ishita has to have for her to, take off?
Sure. So if you ask any parent what do they want for their child, they'll say that I want them to have a happy, successful life, right? And if you ask an adult what do they want in life, they would say I want peace, love, harmony. So I say that, actually this is what your kid needs: love, peace, and harmony. And anybody who loves what they're doing, they will by default be successful at what they're doing. So I
Right.
think as a parent, there are certain core values that you can have. Now, these can change. Okay, they are not written in stone; they are written in sand. So they can change with their age. Like, for example, if you say that, "Oh, I love you, I love you," love is a core value, then it has to be lived 24/7, right? So for us, interaction is a core value that at our house. So we have fixed values which we can follow, right? We've told Ashita that we love you from, but there would be days when I will not be in a capacity to give you love, and I'm a human, right? So I think that normalizes it. That if Ishita is angry, she's allowed to be angry. So
Right.
certain, so you can sit with your kid and say that, what do you think as a I can do that will help you to build a better connection with me. Parents don't have these conversations. They will have a conversation like, what can I do so that you score well? What can I do so that if you clean your room, I'll get a bicycle or I'll get a gift? What can I do so that you keep quiet and don't disturb me because I'm watching a Netflix series? Right? So the conversation doesn't is not about bonding or connection. It's about silence, this, that. So I think core values really need to be that people say that, my husband is a friend, my I want my kid to be my friend. Why do you say friend? Because if you look at any friend that you love or admire, you give them feedback without wanting them to immediately follow it,
True.
right? So it's an
True.
again invitation, of request, not a demand. So you can ask them that what are certain things, and then you can also tell them what are certain values that you would want them to inculcate, and you can
Absolutely.
negotiate around that. And I
Love
think
that.
that's what we do
So
at our house.
also, Jaya is mentioning on the chat that they want to be happy and they want free space to talk. How much do you agree or disagree with this?
Now I want to ask Jaya, what, and if it's okay with her, and I be acting as a devil's advocate, what does she mean by the word happy? So when you say that you want your kid to be happy, could you please share what does happiness mean to you?
Right. I think she will take some time to type.
Yeah,
And in the meantime, so if I have to ask you to summarize the whole conversation and say that, okay, these are the things that a parent should do for their kid to be able to, take the flight of their dreams. um, yeah,
sure.
how do you summarize it as?
So I can. There are some questions. Maybe we can take
Yeah,
them
there are
later.
questions coming in. Everyone's really excited to have the conversation with you, and I'm going to let them do that, but exactly in 5 minutes once you finish this question. So, yeah,
Sure.
over to you.
So, quick five key takeaways that I can tell is, one is, be a conscious co traveler. The moment you have this instinct of controlling, stop yourself. Ask yourself, am I present in the moment? Second is, create dialogue with your kid, not a monologue. Listen to me, listen to me. Listening is a two-way process, also, which was never taught to us. Third is,
Absolutely.
yeah, third is celebrating their individuality. Now, if you want to be accepted, seen, and loved for who you are, the same is the case with that little angel that you decided. They didn't have a choice, you brought them, right? So better take care of them properly. And the fourth is creating safe space, right, with your kid, in terms of saying that you can come to me and there is a sub support system where uh, there are people who can support you. And fifth is honoring their emotions. Whatever they say is valid. You shouldn't say, oh, and I'm waiting for Jaya to answer, and then I'll elaborate on that maybe.
Sure. Uh, so yeah, okay. I'm still stuck on the point that you mentioned, where we were always taught that communication is just talking, but it isn't. So we continuously at Mastree keep having conversations with our parents, the students that have registered. And I happened to talk to one of the parents 2 days back, and I asked her, what are the areas that your child is struggling in, and what do you think Mastree can help them with? And it surprised me in a good way to understand that she said very clearly that, my child does not listen to what people are saying. That's one. Second, if she listens to English, she's going to be able to converse in English, but she's not listening only. So her listening and reading abilities are something that need to be developed, and which is why she opted for Mastery. So it's so amazing that we are a step ahead of our parents wala generation, where communication meant only talking, and now we are aware that communication also means listening. So
Absolutely.
that's so amazing.
Absolutely. And I think listening is also one of the tip that if I may say, that is that we should be both conscious that they're listening to you and more conscious that they're watching you.
Absolutely.
If you are not listening to your kid and if you're cutting them in between, that's what they're learning. And that's what they project outside. They may not be doing that in front of you because of the authoritative figure that you might have created. So that is also something that we need to see, that in your presence, does your kid feel liberated? Are they able to dance? Are they able to do funny stuff? Like, are they able to jump on the bed? uh, are they able to be a kid? Right? And
Right.
if they are able to do that, then they will be, if you respect them, that's the value that they will learn. They will respect you, and they will respect the world outside as well.
Right. That is amazing. Okay, so now let's jump into the Q&A because there are so many questions coming in. I will start with the first one. This person has chosen to be anonymous, and the person has asked, how do I build up self-confidence in my daughter? She's 10 years old.
Now, first thing is that every day, when you talk to your kid, do you value their opinion? The moment I feel that I'm heard and valued and acknowledged, that builds confidence. Second, if you haven't done already, tell your kid that you're worthy of who you are as you are. And that's a very empowering thought. Third, can you ask your kid that, as a parent or as a friend, do you think that I can do something that will help you to be the best version of yourself? And they will tell you. They will tell you.
Amazing. So the next question is from Hajra Khan. I hope I've pronounced their name correctly. They asked that how to teach teenagers about reducing internet time. I think that's a question that a lot of parents struggle with. And how do you get them to focus on their career goals?
Uh, right. Now, screen time is like the elephant in the room, right? Nowadays, when especially during this pandemic time. Now, one thing is that like I said, that they worry that they are watching you. Now, are you on your phone when they come and tell you that I have something to share with you? And do you say, let me finish this and then I'll talk? Now, kids also take this as an opportunity of doing the same thing, right? So when they are having a lot of internet time, you can have a better internet time in terms of engagement. So there are, I think, courses run on Mastree also, and there's so many platforms online, so you can utilize it.
Right.
So I think the concern of parents is not so much about internet. It's about Instagram. It's about watching content that is not useful for them. So you can negotiate with them and say that, this is useful. Would you like to engage in that? And I think that's one. And second is that you need to watch yourself during the and I know some people will be like, everything we have to do. Yes, because you brought an individual into this world without any conscious thought. Now that the individual is here, you need to negotiate certain things with them and figure out, because teenage, any which ways, there are hormones surging and they're figuring themselves out. So yes, it's a tricky stage, but then patience. So kid also doesn't want to have a confrontational and an angry environment at home. They don't like
Right.
it. So
Right.
just have a conversation with them and say that, okay, you tell me how many hours. We tell them this is the time. Ask
Right.
them how
Okay.
many hours.
Okay. Turn the tables.
Yeah, ask them.
Okay.
Hear
Great.
from the horse's mouth, and then they will not. You only said it.
That is a very smart way. Okay, next question is coming from Tripta Kaur. She's asking, did Ishita also read a lot of books, and what kind of books she read when she was 7, 8?
Yeah. So off camera, I was talking to Filoni, and when I was expecting Ishita, I was doing my MBA. So I was just telling her that, MBA karke hi aayi hai bahar. And I did it in HR, so she's very comfortable with people. Again, another conscious decision that me and my husband took was that we used to read a lot in front of Ishita. We used to tell her a lot of stories. And I used to ask my mother if she can narrate stories from her time. And so, yes, you can inculcate their picture books and funny stories and get the inner child in you out and narrate those stories to them. So, yes, Ishita started learning. We introduced her to a lot of books.
Wow. Okay, so the
She
next
does.
question comes in from Durga. She is asking that how to motivate your child to build accountability. That's a struggle now.
That's again a big one,
Yeah.
right? Now, accountability on what? Right? So accountability on what? So if I tell my kid, we give generic instruction to our kid. I want you to be accountable.
Hmm.
Now, accountable about what? So first question is that parent needs to ask themselves, is accountable about what? You cannot say everything. Now, am I accountable about everything? No. Right?
True.
So I think let's be realistic, because we think, and I know the intention of the parents is that they want the best for their child, and I understand that they're coming from there. But I'm just saying that be realistic and ask your kid that the world out there, and I have the highest regard, and I want the best for you. Now, okay, so I think the biggest national problem is clean your room. So let's address that with an example. Okay. Now, for me also, because it's passed on from generation to generation, I heard from my mom, and then I also thought that, oh, that's a great idea to just pass the buck if the kid is having a conversation with you. But Ishita, have you cleaned your room? So I said, okay, how can we have accountability? So I said, Ishita, we were having a discussion. I said, Ishita, okay, you clean your room or you not? She said, it's my room, right? So I said, yeah, it's your room. So you have an accountability. But when your friend comes to our house, then they will sit in your room. Is it okay with you? She said, yeah, it's fine. So I said, Pakka, done? She said, yes. Now, if a room is not clean and if a friend is visiting her, and only room that they're allowed to have a conversation is her room, then that's a call that she needs to take, because we
Right.
think that what will they think about our parenting? No,
Right.
if your kid is scoring X marks, it's about them. Can we disassociate our self-worth with our kids' marks, with their room? And then you will understand. Now, accountability is also giving them certain tasks and then say, can you please complete this? Will you be able to complete it today or tomorrow, rather than saying complete it now? So accountability also comes with conversation, assigning them
Right.
small tasks, and that helps.
Amazing. I was actually thinking that I'm going to plug this in and ask you to quote this bedroom cleaning wala incident from our conversation, and you did just that. So, one more very interesting question has come in from Sanghamitra. She says that my daughter is 8 and does not want to write at all. But when it comes to talking, she can defeat any lawyer. Like, how amazing is that? And she says that she wants to talk a lot but not write. So, but there's no one else to listen to her. So, how do we go about this?
Now again, right? So we need to celebrate what she's very good at. Now it's like, most of us, and I know it would be a little what is she saying, but please be open to what I'm saying and see it in the other light. Now, if your daughter is very good at talking, right? uh, Most our society tells us to work on our weakness. I think differently. We need to enhance the strength of our kid,
Absolutely.
right? And slowly and gradually you will see that if she's talking a lot, and if you can give subtle nudges that, sweetheart, you talk so beautifully, it won't be wonderful that you jot down your thoughts just for my reference, and
Oh,
see,
that's
because
such a
see, it's,
smart way of
you can
putting it.
only, it's like this. If as an adult my husband would say that, please go to sleep at 10 o'clock, or please, Nancy, you know what, your daughter has written a book, you are 37, when will you write a book? No, I don't want to write it right now. So, we need to understand that kids also have the mind of their own.
Right.
Is it her dream? When I say her, as in mother's dream or kid's dream. So I'm saying that please allow some space for them to breathe. You can give subtle nudges and then let them take their own choice. Because what will happen is, if it is again, are you doing it consciously? Subtle nudge and then leave it at that. Subtle nudge, then just go away. Subtle nudge and then go away. Controlling parent would be, I'm sitting right. I'm sitting right. That doesn't work, right? And then slowly and gradually, with love and compassion. If they want to do it, they will figure out. One thing that I would like to tell parents is that kids will figure it out, like you have done it, right? And I know in this, only thing that is certain is uncertainty.
True.
If you're worried about they should do this, they should do that, we don't know whatever they're studying right now will be valid when they are completing their 12th class or graduation. So yes.
Absolutely. So there's a statistic that we've come across is that 65% of the jobs of the future do not exist today. So what's going to be certain is uncertainty, and when you've equipped your child to communicate and express themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Because creativity is something that computers cannot take up even if they want to. So that's the only way that you can future proof them. So yeah. Okay, so we have one more question that's coming from Anika, and she asks that how to teach my daughter to become independent in life. She's 10. What steps can be taken?
So when you say independent, so again, as a parent, we can ask ourselves, when she says independent is like making her own choices. So again, you start with small decisions. For example, if Ishita is asking me, Mama, what should I wear? I would say, Ishita, make your choice. No, tell me, no, tell. Then I would say that, okay, get 3 dresses out and then I'll help you make choice out of those 3. So see, one is, no, you make your own decision. When will you become independent? So you slightly make them prepare of making their own decisions. For example, if they have to study, right? So you take your book and you say, okay, I will also study. Is it okay? Can you tell me the time when it's comfortable? And not that I'm studying right now. It's mera mood hai abhi padhne ka, tum bhi abhi padho. So independence is also slightly nudging and then helping them to make their own choices. For example, exam है तो ये नहीं कि पेरेंट को एक हफ्ते पहले एकदम पैनिक अटैक आया कि पढ़ना शुरू कर दो. Every day, small, and I know parenting is a responsibility, and that's why I ask parents, those who are thinking of becoming a parent, that please make a conscious decision. It's a joyful bumpy ride. It comes with a lot of things that you've not imagined, and that's why a lot of onus of doing the things, fortunately or unfortunately, comes on you. So yes, so independence also would come with subtle nudges and giving them, so independence also, and I'll just add 2 lines and then we can take another question, is that when we say independence, are we trying to tell them to be independent only in the areas where we want them to be independent? So independence is also when they in the areas where they want to be independent. Are we open to that also? So yes.
Wow. Okay, so there's this other question that's coming from this lady who says that she's a single mom and her daughter is an introvert and she struggles about opening up when it comes to her inner feelings. So, how do I get to talk more about herself? Like, how do I make her talk more about herself? So,
Journaling, or how old is she? I didn't get that.
I don't think she's mentioned that. Yeah, she's 16.
Oh, so 16, right? So yeah, I mean, she can write. Now journaling helps. Now if she's an introvert, she may not open up just like that to anybody. So encourage her to write journaling. Journaling, in fact, in coaching, counseling, therapy, has helped people to actually handle their inner demons and blossom fully. So that's one thing that you can say. And second is initiate conversations journally. Spend time with her. Share your incidences, wherever you want to share about emotions, and don't force, and see, and you can ask opinion about certain things. Like I ask Ishita that what do you think could be something that I can share whenever I'm doing a talk or keynote, so she would share. That's my way of getting things out of her. So that's one way of initiating a conversation. When you seek advice from them, they love it. And anybody on earth, you tell them I need help, anybody would become a guru, right? So
True.
yes, your
Everybody
kids would
loves
also
helping.
love. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. So another question has come in from Rituparna, and she is asking that how to understand my child's interests and hobbies and guide them accordingly.
Sure. Now, during the day, see what are they doing when they feel completely lost in that activity. They lose a sense of time. You have to tell them, now it's been 2 hours, can you stop doing that? Now it's not about just watching TV or binge watching something. It's about engaged in an activity. That's one way, because when we are lost in doing certain things and we lose track of sense of time, that is something that we really enjoy doing. And be open. It could be as basic as drums or guitar or whatever you have exposed them to. So one is that. Second is, look at key words in their conversation that keep repeating. Like one of the parents just said, talking, 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 right? Now, now some of the professions that your kid could be great at would be XYZ. Again, asking the kid, right? So exposure, where talking can be helpful, PR and all that. And third is, again, giving them exposure to so many things and say that, okay, I find it very interesting, I find this very interesting, what do you think is interesting? And they will tell you out of the 5 things what do they like. And that's one way of engaging them in those things.
Wow. Okay. And I think we can take one or two more questions, but I'm going to pick this one. So this comes in from, again, an anonymous parent. They're asking that my kid is a 14-year-old and they want to pursue their career in arts, but my husband disagrees and is worried that it's not a good option. So how do
Sure.
I deal with this?
I deeply feel your concern, because and I can share it from my own experience. I was very good in 11th and 12th and 10th. And in 11th, during our time, we had to choose in 11th whether you want to go for humanities, and I opted for humanities. There was a major disappointment in our house. Now, if you've observed that your kid is very good at it, so you need to have a conversation. So I'll tell you where your husband is coming from. He's coming from fear of earning, sense of lack. That is, will she be able to survive, and she or she will be able to survive in this world? The world is tough. So if you can address very politely that, I understand your concern. What do we say? I know you don't like that I'm following art. And that's where the conversations get tricky. So tell them that, address their concerns, that please tell me what are your concerns that I'm following art, and then address that. Because see, if you address the concern, then the issue won't be there, because conversation, aap to meri baat mante hi nahi hai, you don't want me to pursue that. So address their concern, and then you would see that it will be a two-way communication.
Amazing. So Tripta says that you talk about independence and see what your child is lost in. My child is completely lost in books. Recently, he became too interested in Harry Potter. He's 7 years old and wants to read all the parts. What should I do? He's already 4 parts down, but I'm skeptical giving him the other parts.
Okay. Now, so if I've understood the question correctly, does she feel that it's too early for him? Could you paraphrase it for me?
What I understand is, yeah, that's what she is worried about.
But the kid is enjoying that, right?
Absolutely is.
Yeah. Now, so if the kid is enjoying, and there is no, so how old is the kid? Sorry, I didn't get that.
14-year-old, 7-year-old, sorry.
7 year.
7-year-old, wow.
Amazing. Amazing.
A
Now,
7-year-old who has read 4 parts of Harry Potter.
amazing. Now, I know the concern is coming from certain tricky parts that are there in the book. Now, as a parent, now kids are maturing and growing very early as compared to who we were. So a 7-year-old, if you compare it to, I mean, earlier 7-year-old, their maturity level would be 10 and 11, right? So they understand what is going around in the world. So you can have an open conversation that certain things that you find little tricky, please have a come and have a conversation. So I understand your concerns. So once you understand your concerns, no, address them, parenting will become easier, because you're worried, what if they find out about intimacy in that and this and the 4-letter words? So yeah, have a conversation. Because I remember Ishita once, they had adolescence workshop in their school, and we were not ready for that. Okay, they have already. So she came home and she said, you know what, I'm not a gift from God. Now we were taken aback, and she said, I know how I've come to the planet, right? So then rather than saying, I don't want to have this conversation, you sit and have a conversation. right? And that's how, and we just smiled and said, no, you're also a gift. And then, of course, you have a conversation. But
Amazing.
I'm glad that, all the parents who have joined in, that shows that they really want to support their kid. But let me tell you that I have also not figured it all out. I also fall, but I pull myself up and say, okay, Nancy, you're a human being. And same is the case. So you can some days be angry with your kid, but please note that there is a thing called apologize. You go and say, I'm sorry. And I think that's what makes the relationship more beautiful, because they also understand that it's okay to make mistakes. But then you can fix your mistake by apologizing. So I really like that parents who join in, that shows that they really value their kids and their opinions.
Right. So there are still a lot of more questions pouring in, but I think it's time that we say goodbye, and we will not be able to take more questions at this point because it's exactly 6 p.m. now. So um, yeah, so we leave on a positive note that you apologize if you make a mistake, because there's no rule book about parenting and you can make mistakes too. It's fine to forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness from your child too. This session has been really, really enriching and exciting in equal parts. Thank you so much, Nancy, for
Thank you.
being on Mastery Conversations with
Thank
us.
you so
And
much.
thank you to everyone who joined in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.